Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will be discussing about the RTI Amendment Bill of 2019. RTI is Right to Information and we are going to discuss about the amendment bill which was introduced in the parliament recently in the session. So let us look at the current affair. Now if we look at the current affair, the central government, that is the union government, has recently introduced in the Lok Sabha the RTI Amendment Bill of 2019. So RTI was originally brought in the year 2005. Now this original RTI Act is intended to be amended through this amendment bill which is recently introduced in the Lok Sabha. Now the government has introduced this bill. Therefore it is a government bill, not a private member bill. So the current affair we have seen. Now let us understand what are the key changes proposed in the amendment bill of 2019. So if we look at the important changes that are proposed in this bill, we will see that this bill aims to amend two sections of original RTI Act of 2005. So these two sections are Section 13 and Section 16 of the original Right to Information Act of 2005. Now, if we look at what are the changes that are brought out in this amendment bill, the first one is regarding the term. Now, the term of the CIC, the post of CIC or the Central Information Commission was created under the RTI or the Right to Information Act of 2005. So, the Central Information Commission is the authority at the central level which was created under RTI Act. And the aim and the purpose of Central Information Authority or the Central Information Commission is to implement the RTI Act at the national level. Now, in the original RTI Act, Section 13 is regarding the term of the CIC and other ICs. That is, at the central level, there is a Central Information Commissioner or the Chief Information Commission, and at the state levels, there are information commissioners. So, Section 13 of the original Act is regarding the term of the CIC and other ICs. Now, amending Section 13 means that the term of the CIC and ICs are to be amended. Now, originally under the RTI Act, the term is up to 65 years or 5 years, whichever is earlier. So the retirement age is 65 years and the term is 5 years. Which means that at the central level, the Chief Information Commission can serve for a period of 5 years or up to 65 years, whichever is earlier. And this is in 13, that is Section 13 of the RTI Act. Now, if we come to Section 16. This is regarding the term of the state level information commissioners. So, the Section 16 in the original RTI Act describes the term as 5 years or 65 years, whichever is earlier. So, the term and retirement age of Central Information Commissioner or the Chief Information Commissioner who serves at the central level or the national level and the state level information commissioners are all the same. Now coming to the amendment. The amendment now proposes that the appointment for both the Central Information Commissioner, the Chief Information Commissioner and all the ICs, that is Information Commissioners, should be done by the central government and the term is also to be prescribed by the central government. Now this amendment bill which was introduced in the Lok Sabha gives powers to the central government in order to prescribe the term for the CIC and other information commissioners. This is the first key change that is proposed. Now, second one is regarding the salaries, allowances and other conditions of the service. Now, under Section 13 of RTI or the Right to Information Act, the salaries, allowances and other terms of service of the CIC, that is Chief Information Commissioner, shall be the same of that of Chief Election Commissioner or CEC. And also the other information commissioners. For other information commissioners, the salaries, allowances and other terms of service are similar to that of other election commissioners. So we can say that the salary, allowances and other service conditions of the information commissioners including the CIC were similar to that of election commissioners, including the Chief Election Commissioner. Now, if we come to the state level, the Chief Information Commission at the state has a salary which is similar to that of the State Election Commissioner, and also the other other information commissioners. They have a salary similar to the Chief Secretary of the state. So this was under this was under section 16 of the RTI Act. This is the original act. Now, the amendment proposes that the salaries, allowances and other conditions are to be determined by the central government. So here also the central government will get the power and authority to decide the salaries, allowances and other service conditions of the information commissioners. So we can in a way say that this is a dilution of the RTI Act. Now we will come to the concerns in this amendment in detail in this lecture. Let us move on. Let us first, before that, understand what is the rationale behind the proposed amendments and what is the justification of the central government. Now, if we look at government's rationale, what the government has to justify regarding this, the government says that the Election Commission and the Information Commission, both these bodies have different mandates or different objectives. Now, in the earlier or the already existing original RTI Act, the salaries, allowances and also the service conditions were similar to that of election commissioners. The government justifies this proposal of amendment saying that election commission and information commission have different mandates. That means the functions of the election commission are different, whereas the functions or the objectives of a information commission is entirely different. So different mandate is the reason. And for this reason, the status and also the service conditions of both these bodies should be changed. Now, if we need to quote an example, the Chief Election Commissioner. So, the Chief Election Commissioner has been given the authority or the status of a Supreme Court judge. So, the Chief Information Commission has the status of a Supreme Court judge. But if we look into Now, if we analyze in more detail, we will see that the judgment of the Chief Information Commissioner or the CIC can even be challenged in the High Court, even though he has been given the status of a Supreme Court judge. So this is inconsistent. And also the RTI, Right to Information Act, has not given the government rule-making powers. So this errors has been amended in this proposal of amendment of the original RTI Act of 2005. Now, if we look at the significance of the RTI Act, Right to Information Act, we can say that RTI Act is one of the most successful laws ever created in the history of independent India. Now, the RTI Act came into existence in 2005. So, this was in the backdrop of increasing corruption and also the use of power, arbitrary usage of power by the authority. So this was the background wherein which RTI Act or the Right to Information Act came into existence in India. And it was through the RTI Act that the ordinary citizens of the country were empowered. They got the power to know what is happening or the power to be informed. They got the authority to be informed, and it became an important political tool or a democratic tool that people had an opportunity to raise their voice in order to know or to acquire information regarding the government functioning. So we can say that this is one of the most successful and also one of the most revolutionary laws made in independent India. Now, if we discuss about the concerns with the recent amendment, the first concern is that it will negatively impact the federalism of the country. Power will be centralized. So now the central government will get the authority to fix the term of the information commissioners and also to fix the salary and all the allowances and terms of service of the information commissioners. So here the role of the state governments will be diluted, and this will have a negative impact on the federal character of Indian democracy. So this is one negative impact and one concern regarding the recent proposed amendment. Now, the second concern is regarding the independence of information commissioners. Earlier, they had a predefined tenure, they had a predefined or predetermined salary and terms of service. So now what happens? They are at the mercy of the central government for determining their salary, terms of service, and also their tenure. So this will have a negative impact on the independence of the information commissioners, and therefore the functioning of the independent body or the information commissioners will also be negatively impacted, and this is the second concern. Now third one, the process of amendment itself is a question, because this amendment has been proposed without much consultations or without taking into consideration the public opinion. So the process of amendment itself is a concern here. So these are the concerns associated with the recent amendment that is proposed by the central government to the RTI Act of 2005. You can find the PDF of this lecture on our website www.studyiq.com. Thank you.